All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation, YouTube station? Back in the saddle with my guy Ham, breaking down the Sunday night football game. Hey, not quite the appetizer or the main course to last week's Bills Ravens. I don't even know what to call it. That was some world-class meltdown by Harbaugh and the Ravens. Poor Tambo and Ravens fans out there, but we got a decent game here. Game in Minnesota, up there in the Dome. Vikings, 3.5-point home favorites. I believe, 45.5 total or 44.5 total is what it sits at right now. We have some injuries to talk about on kind of both sides, but I'll bring you in, Ham. Happy Sunday morning, brother. How we doing?
Yeah, happy Sunday morning. That last week's game was a shootout for sure. I think this was going to be a good one, right? You're going to talk about the injuries. Yeah, but we got some key injuries on both sides. One of my favorite players, Andrew Van Ginkel, he's out, so you're going to talk about him. But, yeah, we got a new kicker in Atlanta to talk about as well. So, yeah, let's break it all down, and hopefully we get somebody in the winner's circle like we did on Thursday night, chopping that Millie. So that'd be nice to see again.
Yeah. Shout out to our member shipping, I think, four entries right into 51 grand. Was part of that shop there for the Packers. Packers did the job again. Now we're back here with another NFC North team in the Vikings at home. We'll hit on the injury report right off the top. For the Vikings, Christian Darrisaw is going to be out. That's the left tackle there. Like you talked about, Andrew Van Ginkel, the linebacker, is going to be out for a concussion. And then Jeff Okudah is also out for a concussion. Starting cornerback on the outside there. Harrison Smith, their safety, is questionable with an illness there. Austin Keys is also questionable with a groin. It looks like, obviously, Cashman and Chandler both placed on injured reserve there, so don't worry about them. But on the Atlanta side, Mr. Romo's back in our life. Not Tony Romo, Parker Romo, taking over the kicking duties for Younghoe Koo. Koo couldn't figure out how to kick a field goal through the uprights anymore, and he got the wax. Parker Romo stepping in for the kicking duties, so make sure you have that. Jordan Fowler is out. Obviously, he's on injured reserve there. Casey Washington also going to be out concussed, which is a big kind of point, because when you look at wide receiver snap counts from last week, he did play 95% of the snaps there, so some snaps going around. Obviously, Darnell Mooney likely to be back here for Atlanta, which is big. Agnew still out, and then Jack Nelson, O-line, is going to be out as well. For the questionable tags on the Falcons, Hellman's safety, Pierce, and Billy Bowman, all going to be questionable for this DB edge rusher, and then the safety, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, both expected to play, which is pretty big news there. Overall, from the injury report, pretty long injury report, only week 2 of the season, but obviously we know this game, very physical sport. Injuries happen all over the place. Darnell Mooney obviously missed week 1. He'll be back this week, which is definitely an interesting talking point here tonight. Obviously, especially with the game script, right, expected for the Falcons to have to pass a lot. We'll do our best to break it all down here. Ham, I'll throw it over to you right away, talking captains. Then we'll talk quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, kickers, defenses, and then get on out of here. At the captain position, you got Bijan all the way up at 18K, coming off a nice week 1. He's going to be heavily involved in this offense. No surprise, right? It was arguably my number 1 draft pick when you're talking season-long format stuff. I know some people were talking Chase and all of that. Bijan's role in this offense is just everything. He's wide receiver 1. He's running back 1. He does it all overall here with Bijan. 18K is a pretty steep price point to pay. We haven't seen pricing like this yet so far across the couple showdown slates that we have had through 2 weeks of the season. Jefferson right there at 17.7. Coming off a fairly down game in his first game there. Drake London at 15-6, and then you got both the quarterbacks in the 14Ks, and then it drops off a cliff down to Aaron Jones, Mooney, Jordan Mason. Break down the captain position here.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like what we talked about last week, right? You have the two quarterbacks and the big dog up top. I mean, to me, it's similar. You got Bijan, who just did everything last week. I mean, surprisingly, like he didn't even have a good game from a rushing standpoint. He got there with the touchdown on the long run. Did you say something?
Nope.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so he got there on that long catch and run, which is, that's part of his game. He can do that. He's electric with the ball in his hands. I mean, 3 starters missing. Harrison Smith, who missed week 1. I saw where Rappaport said he's probably still going to miss tonight with an illness. He's out. I mean, Van Ginkel's a difference maker on that defense. Brian Flores, man, that guy's a sick individual. He throws those defenses at you. Man, it's wild how good Brian Flores is. But and then Okuda as a DB's missing. He played a bunch the other night as well. So I have a ton of interest in Bijan. I have a ton of interest in Drake London as well. Obviously, he left the game early last week, still managed to get 15 targets. He can reel some of those in against these backup DBs, backup safeties. No Van Ginkel there in the middle from his linebacker position. I think Drake London's in a great spot for me. Justin Jefferson, yeah, sure. But, I mean, the Falcons do have some pretty good DBs. I know what's his name, got 2 touchdowns. Abuka last week got 2 touchdowns. I mean, that second touchdown was just a great throw. So I'm a little lower on Jefferson. Nades, I think it may be time. I don't know. I'm not ready to get Michael Penix. I saw him last week against Tampa. He did not look very good. I have zero interest in Michael Penix as a captain. And then outside of that, J.J. McCarthy got a baby narrative. He missed a bunch of practice this week. I think 2 days of practice. And people were ready to bury him through 3 quarters on Monday night that he comes out and, leads them to victory. No practice, new baby, no sleep. Like, I'm not ready to anoint him either. To me, it's 3 folks, Nades. Bijan, Drake are my top 2, and then Justin Jefferson would be my 3rd, and I'm not even crazy about him.
Yeah, no, I like a lot of what you say there. I'll start with Bijan and Drake London. I'm in on both of those. You look at Drake London from last week before he went out, right, and got injured there. 27% of the team target share, right? Air yard share, 37%. He had 10 end zone targets, which is huge, obviously. And he was Penix's first read. No surprise, right? So I'm in there. Even with Mooney coming back, I think that just frees up more for Drake London. I mean, you look at last week. I mean, it was Drake London, and then who was it? Casey Washington, Ray McLeod, Carol Hodge, right? Sills. I mean, these guys, you're not really scared. I mean, it was basically London, Pitts, and Bijan. Now adding Mooney back, another threat to the opposite side of London. I think London's going to feast. He's my overall top captain play in general, price adjusted. Bijan right there with him. I'm in there. I'm actually scared about Justin Jefferson here, not because I don't think Justin Jefferson's good. He's right. He's one of the greatest wide receivers in all of football. I'm just scared. I mean, I don't think they're going to take the training wheels off of J.J. McCarthy. We saw it. J.J. McCarthy only kind of led that charge coming in the 4th quarter out of desperation, right? And the Bears defense is just not very good in general. I don't think McCarthy's good. Everyone's like, oh, JJ money, all of this stuff right after he led the 4th quarter comeback there. I still don't think this kid's a good quarterback. At least that's my opinion. I could be wrong. Whatever. Time will tell. I'm not playing either of these quarterbacks up in the captain position personally. I just don't think they're going to unleash JJ McCarthy. I think they want to go run heavy approach. That's why they went out and got Jordan Mason. They have Aaron Jones there. So for me, I just don't think they're going to drop back and throw the ball 35, 40 times here. I just don't see it. So for me, that's enough to take J.J. McCarthy out and dock some of the pass catchers there. Where I do want to go in, my favorite plays from the captain position on the Viking side are going to be both these running backs, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones. It is tough at a time split. I'm going to pay attention to what ownership is. Obviously, it's 8:30 in the morning here, Sunday morning. Ownership will be updated throughout the day and afternoon. I think both of them are fine. Jordan Mason, I think, is pretty interesting here. 9,900 captain position. They're 3.5-point home favorites at home. They want to run the football. Jordan Mason led this backfield in terms of rush share, rushing attempts there. And Aaron Jones was the pass catcher. It looked like Jordan Mason was RB1 week 1 of the season here, not even knowing the entire playbook. I'm going back in on the well on Jordan Mason. And then Aaron Jones would be the pivot and the lower owned option, because I think everybody can look at snap counts. Everybody can look at rush share, rushing attempts, all of that. With the home favorite, people are going to lead more to Jordan Mason. I'm with it. But I also think Aaron Jones can be a sneaky option here. We've seen Aaron Jones in prime time, right? Put his old sombrero on there and throw it up when he was in Green Bay, right? With three rushing touchdowns. He has the ability to do that. And again, with the uncertainty in the backfield, I like both the running backs. And then the other kind of contrarian option I would play would be Darnell Mooney, just coming back there. I expect Atlanta to have to pass the ball a lot. All the focus will be on Drake London, ownership, and Bijan as well. I think Darnell Mooney, goes overlooked and is under-owned. So realistically, my captain pool, Bijan, Drake London, Aaron Jones, Mooney, and Jordan Mason are kind of the 5 main guys that I'm focused on personally myself. When we jump over to flex here, same kind of guys, hit on the quarterbacks as well, and then take us into running back here. What do you see, Ham?
Yeah, I mean, I said it a minute ago. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with not playing Michael Penix Jr. I just didn't see enough out of him in that game against Tampa. Now he goes on the road, and I have a lot of respect for Flores and his defense. I think the one thing you could say, though, would be, that I just, what we alluded to earlier is all the defensive guys that are going to be missing. But this defensive line are maniacs. I mean, this is a really good defense. Penix, not the most mobile guy, 2 ACLs back in his college days. So I'm fine fading Penix in the flex. And then McCarthy, I think, is fine. I mean, we saw him get that rushing touchdown. I mean, I'm with you, though. I'm not sold on him either as a long-term quarterback. And this is only his 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th quarter of football that he's going to play at the professional level. So I think he's better in the flex than Penix. And then I disagree with you a little bit on the Vikings running backs. Certainly, Aaron Jones, the sombrero, he's done it, puts the glasses on. I love Aaron Jones, the person, but Mason just looked like the better back the other night. Jones did catch that bomb. They threw him another bomb. He got in the box, but I like Jordan Mason, less expensive. They're going to play right around the same amount of snaps, but he just looked more explosive in the run game than Aaron Jones did. So I like Mason in the flex spot. Not in love with Jones, and then TJ Hawkinson. Right, I don't really love Jefferson because of what they have on the outside. So give me some Hawk across the middle to do what Hawk does. Only $6,200. I don't mind him in the flex. And the last one I mentioned before we get down to the cheaper guys would be Mooney coming back. We saw him last year, had a really good year last year, can really stretch the field if they're behind, if they're throwing. I think Mooney's a great option in the flex as well.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown there. I'm going to be different than you a little bit. I'm going to be overweight on both these quarterbacks in the flex. I'm fading them in the captain position. I think both of them, just the security. I mean, these prices are too cheap for quarterbacks. I mean, sub 10K for quarterbacks. I mean, you're talking Bijan at 12K, Jefferson at 11.8, London at 10.4. I mean, I'll just take the security and the safety there. I prefer Penix over McCarthy just because I don't think McCarthy is going to be unleashed and have to throw as much. I expect Penix to have to throw more with the defensive scheme that Flores throws, right, and the blitzing and things like that. That could cause trouble. You could get a pick 6 to the house, and then it just goes right back to Penix having to throw pretty much the whole game there. So I like Penix over McCarthy personally in the flex because I'm going more run-heavy approach on the Viking side of things. The thing I will say about Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, I like both of them. I think Aaron Jones is going to be way lower owned because everybody sees exactly what you just said, right? Jordan Mason looked better. All the snap counts, all the rush share, everything leads to Jordan Mason. It's week 1. It's 1 week sample. They're still trying to figure out this offense with both of these running backs here. I will say, tell a story when you're playing them. Jordan Mason is going to be the lead runner, I expect, and Aaron Jones is going to be the lead kind of pass-catching rollback. They're obviously going to both split carries, things like that. But if Minnesota's playing with the lead, I expect it to be more Jordan Mason. If Aaron Jones is kind of the lead guy, I expect Minnesota to be more in a back and forth type, even a trailing game script. So when you're playing them, make sure to tell a story with your roster there. I prefer Aaron Jones in more kind of pass catching and catch up script, or playing from behind, and then Jordan Mason playing from ahead. So when you're playing them, make sure you build your rosters accordingly there. I like them both. I'm in on both of them. I talked about Darnell Mooney. I like him. Taking us into kind of this mid-tier here. I mean, you mentioned Hockenson a little bit. I like Hockenson there. You got Kyle Pitts, 5,800. Kyle Pitts was wide receiver 4 in terms of targets, everything, when London and Mooney were both healthy. And in this game, Ray McLeod right there at 5,400. I don't really like Pitts or McLeod that much. I think their prices are a little high there. They should be pretty low owned in tournaments, both of them. So I don't think as a tournament option that they're the worst plays there, but it's just hard to play them over a guy like Will Reichard, in my opinion. I just think kickers are the nuts always. Reichard's still too cheap at 5K. He's a really, really good kicker in general. So kind of hit on this mid-tier, because it is going to be an important breaking point and talking point in general. When you take a look at the value is pretty weak on this slate. So I think living in this mid-tier is going to be where you're going to win tournaments tonight. Guys like Pitts, McLeod, Reichard, Thielen, Romo, the Vikings defense, Naylor. I think those guys, I think what you do with this range right here from Naylor up to Pitts is going to be important. And I think it's going to be a differentiator in tournaments here tonight. What do you see here? What's your preferences? What are your leans?
Yeah, I mean, Naylor, 88% last week at 4K, only got 3 targets. I think JJ missed him in the end zone one time. So I think Naylor's a great spot. I have a ton of interest in the Vikings defense, even down the guys. You know, we've seen Van Ginkel. I love it when he just picks off those little screen passes and just takes those to the house. Obviously won't have those. I think the Vikings D is squarely in play. Kyle Pitts Sr., $5,800. I mean, you'd think he's just running wind sprints out there, but he did have 8 targets last week. So I don't hate that. Like you said, I like what you said about telling a story. Like, tell the story. Like, if Kyle Pitts is in there and they're playing from behind, yeah, you're going to need Penix. But if you don't tell that story, you don't need Penix. But Thielen, man, the guys on the show on Monday, they have me so amped up for Adam Thielen. They go out there, 0 catches, 1 2-point conversion. I played so much Adam Thielen on Monday night. He disappointed, but maybe they give him some love in his return to Minnesota. Maybe they were saving him to unleash him back home in front of his people. But $4,800. I mean, we kind of know what he is at this point, but I'm actually Reichard over Thielen at that price. I think you may be too. Maybe I'm wrong, but even my boy Tony Romo Jr., JP Romo, I like him at that price. You know, brand new. We got a dome, no conditions. So I like the kickers. I like Naylor. I like the Vikings. I like Pitts. I think I'm out on Thielen, but interested to hear your take on that.
Yeah, so I'll rank this range. For me, it's number 1, Naylor. Naylor's the wide receiver 2 in this offense. I had a Thielen. I mean, you look at week 1, obviously we're all going off week 1 in general, just like everyone is. There's some overreactions, underreactions, all of this thing. And there's some inflated numbers here, right, with the way that Vikings and Bears game went. But you look at Jalen Naylor, 87.5% route participation, number 2 on the team behind Justin Jefferson. He is the wide receiver 2 in this offense. He looked good. I think he's a Michigan State boy. In general, I think he's a solid receiver, 4K, really good price point. He's my favorite guy in this kind of mid-tier range. So I really like Jalen Naylor the most. It's not going to be a contrarian take by any means, but I still think people are going to go to Thielen. So for me, it's Naylor number 1 in this range, Reichard number 2 in this range. And then I'm going to go to Kyle Pitts number 3, just because I think there is some probability there. Again, I like them to have to pass the ball more. You did see Kyle Pitts kind of emerge after Drake London got hurt, and obviously there was no Darnell Mooney, so that did lead to Kyle Pitts being the main playmaker there. I just think they need to get Kyle Pitts involved in this offense this season. Last year was abysmal. Kyle Pitts has been the fantasy guy that everyone kind of bangs their head against the wall with, and he's very frustrating. But tonight, I think he's going to be really low owned. I think he's going to be sub 20% owned. We have him right around 15% right now. Again, obviously it's very early. Ownership is going to change. A lot of things are going to update as we get the inactives, as we get more injury report and these questionable tags and see what happens here. But again, I expect the Falcons to have to pass the ball. That goes to Kyle Pitts. I put Kyle Pitts over Ray McCloud. So for me, it's Naylor number 1, Reichard number 2, Pitts 3. And then I'm going to Adam Thielen 4 and Romo 5 is kind of, and Raymond McCloud is kind of the last guy. I really don't like Ray at this price point. I like him much more when he's down in that 3K range than 5,400. So for me personally, I'm basically out on Ray there. I just don't think it's that good a spot. I prefer Pitts. I prefer Mooney. I prefer London. I prefer Bijan. I prefer Romo, the kicker, over Ray McCloud. Take us down into this value tier here. What stands out to me is the Falcons defense. Nobody's going to play this Falcons defense. I'm not a buyer on J.J. McCarthy. It's going to be tough to really get a ton of opportunities just because I think the Vikings are going to try and take the ball, the air out of the football here. They showed a pretty balanced and more run-heavy approach in week 1 until they had to pass, obviously, right, when they were down 2 scores to the Bears there. But Falcons defense, if this game stays somewhat competitive or flips the script from what the Vegas line shows and the total show, and Penix has to drop back to throw, or not Penix, McCarthy has to drop back to throw, you could see some mistakes happen. Primetime, again, another primetime game for a rookie quarterback in McCarthy making his second start in the bigs. I don't think the Falcons defense is that bad. We've shown the Falcons defense to have a ceiling multiple times last season. They were on the winner in a lot of main slates actually last year. They have playmakers back there. So at 3,600, I think in a Bijan type captain build, I think that's a really interesting way to play the Falcons. And you just flip the script because I do think the run heavy approach that I'm seeing on the Vikings and kind of the Vikings controlling the game is the more popular route. If you just flip that construction, you're unique in tournaments there. So I do like the Falcons defense a decent amount at 3,600. They're probably one of my favorite plays below Jalen Naylor, and I like both of them right there. But hit on these other guys like Josh Oliver, who is pretty involved. Obviously, he's tight end 2 behind Hawkinson. They'll run 2 tight end sets. Oliver got some targets, got some catches last week. His price did come up to 2,400, which is a little bit harder to play. He has to do a little bit more. Outside of that, I really don't see anyone else down here unless you see anyone. What do you look at for the value down here?
Yeah, don't hate the Falcons. I mean, they're $3,600, right? So you don't need them to do a whole lot. The only one that I have, I'm gonna dub it my what is his name? Charlie Warner. Charlie Kohler, play of the week, right? Nades, he got you 0 points, by the way, last week. I wanted to remind you of that. Would be my guy, Tyler Algier. He's my Charlie Kohler play of the day. $3,000. He only played 19 snaps, but when he's in there, they're going to hand him the ball. Now, I don't know if – I guess I would, but I don't know if I'd ever take out Bijan because he's just that good. But when Algier gets in there, he's going to get carries. He's got 11 carries on 19 snaps. If it's close, he's going to be in there. But outside of that, I'm not playing Josh Oliver, whoever. I don't even know who that is. $2,400. I don't care. He played some last week. He stinks. And then nobody else down here, not with Mooney coming back. So it's Algier and the Falcons defense down here for me.
Yeah, I don't think Hodge is that playable. His snap count's really not going to come up with Casey Washington missing. Washington basically slotted in for Mooney. Now Washington's out. Mooney's going to slot in and take those snaps there. So you're looking at pretty much it's Mooney, London, and Ray is the 3. Hodge in 4 wide receiver sets. I think he might get some snaps there, but can't get too excited there. I'm with you on Algier. You look at Algier after week 1, right? I believe he got like 43% or something of the rushing share there overall. So I don't hate that. And again, at his price at 3K, I mean, that's pretty cheap. He would be. Him and the Falcons defense, I think, are by far and away the 2 best value options. But overall, value is pretty weak on the slate. So I think going back to the captain, right, when you're playing a Bijan, when you're playing a Jefferson, I think you're going to have to make some decisions for sure. Because again, I kind of want to finish my teams in this mid tier, the Falcons, Naylor, Vikings defense, Reichert kind of range. I don't really want to punt down here. I don't think it's a slate to punt. The value is really, really gross. It's not like we have the Chris Brooks that we had right in that Packers Commanders game on Thursday night or something like that. The value is pretty weak in general down here. Algier is by far the best value play below kind of Jalen Naylor, realistically, even ahead of the Falcons defense there. But any kind of closing remarks before we get on here? I think we broke it down pretty good. What's your I'll throw it. What's your kind of flag plant of the slate here? What are you looking for as kind of your biggest differentiator tonight to win all the money?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be fading Penix in like a single entry 3 max. I'm fine with fading him in both of those. That's kind of my stand. And then, yeah, like my second one, sorry, you didn't ask for 2, but like playing both running backs, like Bijan, like kind of going different, playing Bijan and Algier. We didn't mention it too, but I think his name is Blake, but Blake Cashman, starting linebacker for the Vikings, left, and he's on IR. So, I mean, theoretically, the Vikings are missing 4 of 11 starters. I wasn't a math major, but that's like 40% of their starting defense. So, yeah, give me that ground and pound. Take the ball out of Penix's hands, and let's go.
Yeah. I did mention, Cashman and Chandler are both on IR. They both are out. Obviously, Chandler's not that big, but Cashman and Van Ginkel both being out is pretty big for the Falcons to have some hope to keep it close. And, hey, if you flip the script like you're talking about with Bijan and Algier, you're going to be unique there. So that's definitely different there. For me, I think the Darnell Mooney captain play is pretty interesting. I like him at 10-5. And then I'm going to tap into Aaron Jones, too. I think Aaron Jones is pretty sneaky. Everyone talks about Jordan Mason. I like Jordan Mason, but everyone is sleeping on Aaron Jones after 1 week. All of the thing, he looked better, the eye test, this, that, the other thing. If this game does flip a little bit with some of those guys being out for the Vikings defense, you could see a big role for Aaron Jones here. The ownership's going to be much lower, in my opinion, than Jordan Mason leading up to lock there. So I like Aaron Jones. I like Darnell Mooney as kind of 2 contrarian takes in general. Fading both the quarterbacks up top. I do think they pick up some ownership just with the uncertainty of the skill position here. Going to be overweight on them in the flex, but that's going to do it. Good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. All of our content will be live throughout the afternoon here. Ham's got to get on in here, get on the main slate show. Hopefully your main slate teams are crushing as well. And hopefully we see another SHIPIT Nation member, if it's not you or myself, Ham, at the top of the leaderboards. For Ham, I'm Nades. Good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos all the way up top. We're out of here. Peace.